Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you so much for joining my daily COVID-19 call. My name is Sree Srinivasan, and I'm honored to have all of you with us as we go on this journey together. It's day 14 of the New York City lockdown. It feels like day, 150 maybe, but we're all going to get through this together if we all pay attention to scientists, doctors, healthcare workers. And today we have a special healthcare edition where you get to talk to doctors. So we are just going to introduce them to you in a minute. Meanwhile, here's what you can do. You can go on your Facebook or Twitter or YouTube or wherever you are, and please share where you're watching from, what you're doing. Talk to us. So easy to do. And also, please share the post. Reshare it, retweet it, so that your friends and family can join us. This is also on YouTube and LinkedIn. So if you're on those platforms, tell us what you're doing and saying hello. Look at this. Jonathan says hello from scenic, if eerie, East Village. He's always the first to join. Thank you so much. Tell us where you're watching from, folks. Tag your friends. Let's give out great information and help people by doing that right now. I am committed to doing this every day through the crisis as long as I don't get sick. And I can tell you that so many people have written in that this is a uplifting part of their day and that this means a lot to them. Somebody wrote that this is their daily lifeline. I was so touched to hear that. And that's why I'm committed to doing this. We have Adam watching from Connecticut, but we know we have people around the world. So tell us where you're watching from. Tell us what you're thinking. Tell us what's going on. We want to hear from you. We'll have a conversation, of course, in those platforms, but we'll bring out the best comments and put them here on the screen. My name is Sree Srinivasan, and I'm a social media consultant and the Marshall Loeb Visiting Professor of Digital Innovation at Stony Brook School of Journalism. And when I have a title like that, digital innovation, I have to try something, and that's what I'm trying right now with this show. Diane's watching from she's biking 6 feet apart from anyone else on the Atlantic City boardwalk. I hope she's just listening and not watching us. Joe Apayo is watching in Alpharetta or near Alpharetta in Cumming, Georgia. Joe, a longtime New Yorker and a dear friend. And there's Bill Sobel from Long Island, who has pioneered a lot of the ways we think about digital, and so honored that he's here. Susana Cejas is watching from Mexico, where the president is being very lax regarding COVID. He wants us all out and about by April 19th. Not surely, that sounds like what's happening in the US, what our president is saying, but in Mexico, in Brazil, we have seen horrifying pictures of the presidents there completely doing the opposite of social distancing, and Bolsonaro even saying the press is the enemy of the people, they're made this up, it's all a lie, and so outrageous. So for that, to fight that, we're doing what we're doing today, having a global conversation, and so delighted that all of you are with us. Please ask your questions. We have 3 doctors who are going to talk to you in just 1 minute. I want to give you time to share this and want to give the doctors time to share it so their family can be watching with us. And I want your feedback. I want your ideas. By day 8, I already had sponsorship inquiries, so I'm certainly open to that. Anybody who wants to get their message in front of a global audience, we're going to continue to do this every day. I am looking at doing a show tomorrow on all kinds of interesting things, including will anything change? You know, we talk about how America has changed. Well, will it after this is over? That's one of the things we will tackle. And on Sunday night, I always want to do something a little more positive, a little more uplifting. We're going to talk to a child psychologist at 9 p.m. Eastern. Please join us for that conversation. Last Sundays with a positivity psychologist was incredible. I learned so much and felt so good. Hopefully you will join in. And Diane says she took a break from biking to listen in. Oh, it's a lifeline. Thank you. And we love that you're biking. Maybe you should keep exercising and just listening as you're driving along, riding along. And I'm sure the doctors want you to stay safe. Jamie is watching, and she says, always great to tune in from Dutchess County. And Jamie has already been a guest on this show. And folks, if you are watching on LinkedIn, tag a friend. YouTube, Facebook, just tag a friend who would benefit right now, who's feeling a little down and lost, as a lot of us are. Just tag them, send them a WhatsApp, send them a text message, bring them in. Let's make this a truly global conversation. If you go into my archive, you can see something really special, a conversation with people in Italy, including a doctor in Italy who talked about how it is that the situation ended up where they are now and what lessons America can learn. So just go back into my archives. You see the archive right on my screen. If you go to YouTube, you can find my archives, or just subscribe to SreeNet, which is my YouTube archive. So let's get our guests with us here. Let's bring them on. And here they are. Dr. Marina Kurian, please say hello.
Hey, how are you guys?
And Dr. Marc Faber.
Hello, everybody.
And we have via phone, so a little more unusual way that we're going to bring her on here is Dr. Rekha Sivadasan. And Dr. Rekha, say hello.
Hi, everyone.
Okay, we were not able to get her on video, so we're able to get her on audio. So let me tell you a little bit about each of our guests. Our guests are Dr. Marina Kurian is president of the New York chapter of the American College of Surgeons, and she is a surgeon in private practice. I've known her for, we won't say the exact number, but the number is north of 20 years. And we've sort of grown up together, and I'm so proud of everything she's done. And for her to spend some time with us today is an enormous gift. Thank you, Marina, and thank you for being here. Last time I saw you was a family dinner in this house right behind me, celebrating Onam, the Kerala festival. So thank you very much.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you. We're also joined by Dr. Marc Faber, who is a dentist in upstate New York, and he wrote a really important piece, an open letter to Governor Cuomo about the role of dentistry and what needs to happen. And I will pull that up on the screen, but anyone can just Google his name, Dr. Marc Faber, and you'll be able to find it. Mario and Cuomo, and I said Mario, we're thinking to the great governor of New York, Mario Cuomo, but Andrew Cuomo. If you Google that, you'll find that piece. We'll show that. And just to tell you very quickly about our guest, Dr. Sivadasan, who is calling in from Texas. She runs Kids World Pediatrics, and she is in Dallas, Texas. And we also have everybody's contact information on the screen, so you can see it. SmilesInOrangeCounty.com. He also has a number, which he'll tell you about in a minute. And at Marina Kurian on Twitter. And KidsWorldPediatrics.com is Dr. Sivadasan. And if each of you can please make sure you've shared it with your audience, and anybody watching, please share it so that more people can benefit from what these folks are about to share with us. Before we start, a note of apology. These are very successful doctors who are used to, when they do TV, they're doing really fancy TV. This is poor man's television. Instead of an army of people, I'm doing it all here by myself, except for two friends who are tweeting what we're doing. And I hope you will follow them. I'll put their address in a minute. Rose Horowitz 31 is tweeting the show. Please follow her. And please check out the hashtag SreeCovid19. Sree COVID-19 call is the hashtag. Sree COVID-19 call. And it's there in the tweet that I posted. And I also want to thank Vandana Menon for her tweets as well. All right, let's get started. Dr. Sivadasan, you're a pediatrician, and I want to tell you why you're on the show. I've been wondering for the last so many days, what is happening to the heart attacks? What is happening to the appendicitis cases? What's happening to the children with painful teeth? What is happening to a kid with a broken arm? And I wanted to hear from doctors who are not directly necessarily in the COVID world, but to tell us what is happening. And folks, please post your comments as we're doing this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sree, first of all, for having me join this panel. I can speak to pediatric cases, pediatric population, rather. The challenge we're having is that we're having to essentially triage the calls that come in terms of seriousness, and decide on, are these situations where we are actually needing to bring a child into an office in the case of private practice, or those children who show up in the emergency room, what are their symptoms presenting as, and should we be testing for the routine things that we would be concerned about at this time of year, namely flu, strep throat, seasonal allergies even, versus more critical conditions. And, naturally everyone's concerned about coronavirus. But the good news so far, in terms of news that we have, is that children overall are not presenting with the same degree of symptoms as adults. The cases of COVID-19 in children are much fewer in number, and if they are presenting with symptoms, that they do tend to be milder. So I think the challenge we're having is in making that determination of whether they actually need to actually come into the office versus being sent to the emergency room. We're grappling with, do we want to overburden our hospital peers and urgent cares with things that could possibly be handled in the office setting, or whether we could actually convert them to a telehealth visit, a telemedicine visit, which a lot of our clinicians are increasingly using given the current conditions.
So you're turning into a telemedicine doctor, and of all the fields, I think that pediatrics is the most about, your connections, your seeing the patient, making them feel relaxed, that kind of bedside manner that they talk about doctors. So can you talk about that adjustment for you?
Sure. So a great deal of our role as pediatricians is definitely not just in terms of reassurance for the patient, but most importantly for reassurance of the parents and providing guidance to them. And so telehealth still affords us that opportunity. There's nothing that's going to replace putting hands on your patient and actually using that in your diagnosis and evaluation. However, a great deal can be done to calm and alleviate the concerns and the anxiety that parents and our patients are having by just that kind of, face-to-face via video interaction.
Yeah, thank you. So we'll see if we have any questions that are just for you as a pediatric doctor, but I didn't ask you the first question I should ask you. How are you feeling? How are you coping with everything?
Thank you for asking. Doing well under the circumstances. I think we are all met with challenges of, and definitely as a owner of a new pediatric practice, we have been hit with dealing with decreased volumes. But we've had to be creative and innovative. Switching to telehealth will hopefully help along those lines. We are definitely encouraging our families to still reach out to us and trying to calm their fears in any way possible. But doing well so far, hanging in there, one day at a time.
Thank you so much. Let's just take a look at the questions and comments that are coming in. There are folks watching from all over. There's a question about hospitals and what is happening. We'll come back to that question because we want to make sure people ask that. Iman is watching on Twitter and she says she's reorganizing the office again. A lot of people are reorganizing their homes and doing that right now. And people are tagging their friends, which is really cool as well. This is what we also have a question that's come in for the pediatrician amongst us. What is your favorite way to calm down children in this anxious moment for everybody?
I think first and foremost is, we as clinicians is trying to at least address their fears, address their concerns. Children express things very differently. So in some cases, they could be acting out. In some cases, they could be very withdrawn. So if we are, in fact, seeing a child face-to-face, is trying to engage them in the conversation. There's a lot we're not seeing, and parents are having to deal with at home. So we're encouraging our families to take the opportunity to have a conversation with their children at their understanding level to address what's going on and why they're having to make these adjustments in their lives, whether it's regarding their schoolwork or being forced to stay at home, not have play dates and the like.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead, please, Marina. As a mother and a doctor, we'd love to hear your question. Go ahead.
Well, no, the question is how is the testing situation down there? What's your philosophy with testing kids, given the fact that they don't necessarily manifest the disease as severely or symptomatically as adults do. And if the test kits are readily available to you to do, and also any kind of time delay, because once we submit the test, the lab has to run it. There's a bit of a backup in some cases, and other times it seems that you can get the results almost within 6 hours. What's happening in Texas? Maybe we're having a technical difficulty.
Sorry, Marina, you can't hear? Is that right?
Yeah, I didn't hear her.
Oh, sorry. We'll just try one more time. 1 second. Dr. Faber, could you hear? Dr. Faber?
Yeah.
Were you able to hear Rekha?
I heard the question. I didn't hear the answer.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So let's just try one more time. Go ahead and just answer your question, please.
Okay. So I believe the question is what the testing situation is in Dallas, and and why are we what would we be doing in terms of testing for pediatrics? So our testing situation is such that we have definitely ramped up in testing over the past week, but it was much slower behind, I would say, the rest of the country. Those numbers are going up. The number of positive cases have gone up as a result of increased testing and reporting. We still flag as we're awaiting more tests to come in. And in terms of testing in our offices, it's probably the issue that's affecting everyone else, all other specialists in the country and our practitioners, is the lack of PPE.
PPE, yeah, it's a word we're all hearing now that we hadn't heard before, but you all knew it. Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah, so, people are having to be creative, innovative. If they have standalone offices where they can actually implement a drive-through process for testing, then some have done so. For the majority of us, we're having to refer to county health departments. And for those children who are presenting with more serious symptoms, potentially referring them, to the ER. So. Yeah,
thank you. We have a quick question for you, and then we're going to let you go because I know you've got to get back. So the question came in from our friend Arlene, who's in New York City, and says, a friend of mine is expecting her third child in the next few weeks. What extra precautions should she take, and what should she expect in the delivery room? Great question.
That is a great question. So I would say, as far as extra precautions, basically what she is probably currently doing now, maintaining social distancing, avoid exposure as much as possible. As far as care in the delivery room, most protocols will be implemented in hospital settings, so to check with her OB as well. To see if there's anything additional that she needs to do prior to presenting for her delivery. But all hospitals, I would think, have implemented protocols at this point.
Great. And thank you. Before you go, I'll just say that we just had a show about small business in America and how to save them and help them. And every private practice pediatrician is a small business, right? Hopefully growing into a very big business. Any tips for your fellow small business folks out there and your fellow doctors who are running their own business?
Yeah, I think, really look into creative ways to keep engaging with your patients. Post frequently, use social media to keep yourself relevant and to stay in communication with your patient population, and continue to keep a watch for all information regarding assistance to small businesses.
Yeah, and I think that's really great advice. And we wish you the very best out in Dallas. And if anybody you know is in the Dallas area and needs a pediatrician, why not call your new friend, Dr. Rekha Sivadasan? She's kidsworldpediatrics.com, kidsworldpediatrics.com. And you can find them also on Facebook. So Rekha, thank you so much. You're also someone I've known for a long time. Again, we're not giving the exact numbers. We want to keep them vague. But thank you and we're so proud of everything you've done and what you're doing and helping your community, and those kids and parents especially are lucky to have you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me on this platform.
All right.
Appreciate it.
You're great. And good luck with the rest of your day. And let's get back to our other doctors. Thank you. If you just joined us, Dr. Marina Kurian is here. Dr. Kurian is a private surgeon, and she is the president of the New York State chapter of the American College of Surgeons. And Dr. Faber is with us, Marc Faber. He is a dentist in upstate New York. He has multiple businesses of practices that he has in a business, and he's at smilesinorangecounty.com, and Dr. Kurian is at Marina Kurian on Twitter. And I've already gotten multiple questions. What's with this phone number? We love the creativity, 32 teeth, but you also wrote a letter to the governor of New York, Andrew Cuomo. So let's start with that, and hello and welcome.
So first of all, thank you for having me on. We actually just met like 2 days ago, virtually. So so anyhow, it's not years. So it's very nice to be here. I appreciate the opportunity, and I want to get a message out. So I wrote a letter a few days ago to Andrew Cuomo, our governor, asking for additional funds for dental offices so they could stay open. My team, who is amazing, they're probably listening right now. I got about 50 to 60 employees. And we reached out to all the local dental offices in Orange County, New York, and we found out that about 80% of them were closed, which is alarming, but makes sense because we're mandated by the government not to do any dentistry, just emergency work. Couple that with some of the Medicaid offices and the Medicaid population and the health centers, and those areas for underserved patients, those places as well are also shut down. So my concern is that the dental emergencies, which according to statistics from the National Institute of Health, represent almost 2% of all emergency room visits in the country. Now, with all these offices closed and the Medicaid patients having no place to go, our hospitals are going to get overrun with dental emergencies. Healthy people who do not have the coronavirus are going to end up in the emergency room and possibly get infected through a cross-contamination. So as a business owner who has multiple types of practices, I have a Medicaid practice, I have private insurance, I have no insurance. And I could see exactly where this is going to be heading, but my Medicaid, the way the business is set up or the way the state is set up, I can't run a business on the Medicaid fees. I can't afford to even pay for the PPE and or my staff to be in. So my plea to the governor was to reallocate the funds that are set aside for Medicaid, so people can be seen, so we don't flood our hospitals. That is my message. Dentistry is a part of healthcare. That is the message that's being sent out by the ADSO, by the DEO, by the ADA. We are part of the hospitals, of our doctors, and we want to do our part here to help. So that's my pitch. That's in a nutshell. I hope I covered everything.
No, that's terrific. Thank you for saying that dental care is health care. And tell us a little bit more about this article. You've gotten it out there. People can find it by just searching Marc Faber with a C, Faber Cuomo. You can find it. Here's the article, Governor Cuomo, we have a dental emergency. Do you think the message will resonate? Do you think people will listen? Or are people so focused on everything else that they won't pay attention? What is your feeling?
Well, I hope they listen. The message is strong. We want to keep people safe. We want to keep people healthy. And the dental emergencies do not ever really be needed to be treated in the emergency room. These emergencies can be treated in the dental office. The emergency rooms are not equipped to handle these emergencies. They don't have the proper X-rays. They don't have the proper equipment, and they don't have the proper gear. So in this situation where we're expecting an overflow of patients to go to the hospitals who have the COVID-19 infection, right now is the time to divert all the dental emergencies away. But if we don't have, especially in a Medicaid setting, if there's no funding for this, these doctors can't afford to be open. So my plea again to Governor Cuomo is include dentistry in the stimulus package.
And if I can ask a blunt question, are dentists good lobbyists? Is your American Dental Association in Washington talking to the federal government, doing all that part also? I presume they are.
I'm going to be very politically correct, and I can't throw anybody under the bus or anything. And the truth is, I don't know for sure. I'm not involved in the politics.
Right.
I know there's lobbying groups that are out there. The ADA, the ADSO are really big lobby groups, and
let's bring in our other guest as well. But let's tell everybody, smilesinorangecounty.com and the phone number 85845-32-TEETH. I love that. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that number. One last thing. That number is. So the other thing we're doing to protect my staff, to protect my team, to protect everybody is we're doing teledentistry. So this is our hotline number for anyone who wants to call, has a tooth question. They could call this. We'll set them up on a video chat, and we'll help give them guidance. Technically it's for people to come to our office, but we will help people anywhere in the country if need be. But yeah,
anywhere in the world right now. You're being watched all over the world. My friend Nigel, who's a doctor in London, is watching right now, and so grateful. And Nigel, hope you'll be on the show at some point. Speaking of friends, I'm so grateful to Dr. Marina Kurian for being here. She is a private practice surgeon in New York, and she's the president of the American College of Surgeons.
In New York State.
In New York State.
Yes.
We got to start somewhere.
Well, we'll see.
We got to start somewhere.
But you know what, Dr. Faber is so funny because you said, I completely agree that dental care is part of healthcare. You know that my back tooth has been bothering me the whole time, right? Even before this, for days, I've been like a flossing fool, convinced that something stuck. I don't know. And I was thinking, how am I going to reach my dentist to call? And I'm thinking, do I put myself on antibiotics? Not hydroxychloroquine. Okay. Not an antibiotic, not azithromycin. I wouldn't take that one either. But, I was like, who am I going to call? So it's happening. And I'm not a hypochondriac.
Yeah, well, our hands are tied now. We're mandated by the government only to do emergency treatment. We can't you needed a crown. We're really not allowed to do. We actually may get a fine for it. So we have to be very careful on this.
Yeah, that fine's also for us. The governor and I think rightfully so cut down on all elective surgery with very strict criteria for what is considered elective and what is considered an emergency. And I think that is appropriate given the nature of the logarithmic rise of cases in New York. There's some graphics, Sree, I don't know if I should have sent it to you beforehand, of looking at San Francisco and their trajectory where they put a social distancing order in a week before us, and their trajectory is completely less. And they are pretty densely populated, although I think New York takes the cake, right, for densely populated areas, and watching our rise and the number of cases that have inundated all of our hospitals. It's quite dramatic, and it's real.
Absolutely. And if you want to take a minute, I'll take you off camera so you can just send me that article and we'll show it to everybody while we're doing that, Doctor.
But I can send it to you. I'll do that right now.
Yeah, okay. Dr. Faber, let's talk to you about dentistry. And Marc Lee says his mayor in Durham, North Carolina, has encouraged more people to do telecalls to the dentist. So this is out there as an idea. But I want to understand a little bit of the science of dentistry. I've had severe toothache once in my life that was the most painful thing I've ever had. And I always wondered, why is it that dental pain can be so excruciating, extreme in a way that I thought I would faint every time it kind of pulsed through. I thought I would faint. I was actually teaching a class online publicly to the world, so I couldn't afford to faint, but I thought I would. So can you tell me a little bit about the science of this?
Sure. Our teeth are, the center of our teeth, there's a nerve, and it's a closed system. It's kind of separated from the rest of your body. You can't give an antibiotic and and the antibiotic doesn't enter the nerve of your tooth or the center of your tooth. So when there's inflammation inside your tooth and the dentin and the enamel are covering it, there's just so much pressure over there. It's in a tight area, and it's awful. It really is awful. I've experienced it myself, but I see it every day. And people, I know the look. I know when someone's having a terrible infection. I know when someone's in a lot of pain. It is, you can see from a mile away. And that is the beauty of what we can do. We can help people very quickly with that.
And why is it that in America, dental care is not considered healthcare on an everyday basis? Why do people have to pay out of their pocket? Why do we see especially poor people with so many missing teeth? Why is that all acceptable in this country?
Because, well, it's not. I mean, it's not acceptable, but this is stuff that's been negotiated before I was even born. Stuff between the ADA and Medicaid, or dental care being left out of Medicare in the 70s. I'm young. I'm 37 years old, and
Baby.
yeah. And I know, and from the stats, dental caries is the most prevalent disease amongst children in the country, possibly the world. And there are many different reasons for it, the rise of use of sugars and all those things, lack of care, lack of education. There's a laundry list of reasons why caries is so prevalent.
Caries mean cavities, right? Cavities.
Yep.
All right. We have a question for you. Felicia says, where do you draw the line of essential and emergency dental treatment? That day, I would have paid any amount of money to fix that problem. That's how painful it was.
So there's I mean, this has been put out by the ADA like recently, right now, defining what is essential dental treatment and what is emergency dental treatment. And as of a week ago, we were still doing essential dental treatment because we were expecting this crisis to last 3 months. So anything that could possibly become an infection in the next 2 months or so, or 3 months or so, there's a big cavity, there's a broken tooth, anything of that nature, we were fixing. A few days later, we switched it over to emergent. The governor and the state switched it over just to emergency, and that's only people in pain. And that is the actual line.
And so, all right. So we're going to now to a doctor who has some pain herself. She said, Marina Kurian.
I'm like, I think I feel it right here. It's killing me.
Maybe we'll do a session right now. Why don't we just do
that?
No,
you're good.
Okay, let's just show that graphic and talk to it, please, Dr. Kurian. Here's the graphic. I'm going to just remove the comment that came in and talk to us. What are we seeing here? What are we looking at?
Can you? Yeah, you got rid of the banner. So, yeah. I mean, my friend who lives out in Oakland posted this, and I personally think Andrew Cuomo's doing a fantastic job and has acted appropriately at every opportunity. So it's interesting that the title is that we were a week too late. I feel it's a little accusatory, but in effect, just looking at the facts, perhaps we did not intervene as quickly as we could have, because California really got the cruise ships first, right? And they got a lot of the cases before we did. So out in New York. So I think that might be part of the delay, but you can see how the trajectory was affected by their doing their shelter in place a week earlier than we did, actually six days earlier. So that I think is very dramatic when you look at the number of cases in San Francisco on the 24th at over 1,000, and we're over closer to 16,000.
What is your suggestion right now? I'll ask each of you this. We've already heard a little bit from Dr. Faber about what he would, if he were the governor, what he would do in terms of dentistry. But just both of you as doctors, what is your message to both the president and the governor, the mayor, etc.?
Well, I think that we do have to flatten the curve. Interestingly, there was a prediction, a modeling prediction that said that up to 2.2 million Americans can die, but it was a model that did not incorporate any of the social distancing that we've been doing, throughout the country and throughout the world. And so it was sort of an early prediction. And apparently there's recently something that came out, Sree, I think today, that he's saying that this is not our trajectory and we may not see 2.2 million Americans dead, thank God, right? Because I think the other thing, when we look at deaths related to viral illnesses, and this has been discussed so many times, that the flu is anywhere from 20 to 40,000 a year, and it doesn't get quite the attention that this gets. And it's because the flu spread out over several months, and this is coming fast and furious. And it is one angry virus that really gets a hold, and it really destroys so much in terms of our ability to take care of patients, our ability to give them compassion and support, because they're frequently alone and isolated. And this is in the hospital where we are supposed to be giving them compassion, but the hospitals are getting quite full, and it's a different virus than influenza. And it, as I said, it's the course, once you get it, and the spread of it is greater than the flu. The prediction is that 80% of Americans are going to have, 80% of the world will have it, if not 100%. And we do kind of want that. We want that to happen, but we don't even know if this will protect us in following years. We just don't know, because it is so novel a virus.
Yeah. Dr. Faber, your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, you know, the president and our and Governor Cuomo, they got to keep on leading. They got to make really big decisions, but they got to make smart decisions. You know, we're talking about people's lives here, and making available the resources possible to save as many people's lives. You know, America, or the world, every, I guess, 100 years historically faces a crisis. You know, I guess a previous generation might have been World War II or other things. We have a chance here to work together, to connect to each other, to be creative and think of unbelievable solutions to things. You know, obviously there's a lack of ventilators right now, and hospital beds, but let's be honest, if we put our resources together, we could get those beds very quickly. Maybe we can't build the ventilators that quickly, but we could find beds and space. This is an opportunity for us as a country to come together. You know, politically speaking, you know, a country that's been so divided for so long over so many things has a chance now to come together and work together, which is really, I think, could be really nice.
Thank you. I hope we can come together. I think that's really important. Let's go to some of the questions and comments coming in. Marc says he remembers when dentistry was taught in high schools and school systems. I remember this. You're probably too young, Dr. Faber, but Marina and I, when I was in high school in New York City at PS6. Yeah, you're too young. You wouldn't remember this. But at PS6, they had a weekly, maybe once a week, somebody would come in and teach us how to brush our teeth. Is that even, could I be misremembering completely? It was terrible because you had to do it without any water. So then you just brush your teeth and you spit in a cup. There was no toothpaste, nothing. Do you know about that?
I went into my daughter's class like 2-3 weeks ago to give a lecture on brushing your teeth. You know, but I did it out of my goodwill. It wasn't part of the curriculum.
Okay. And Dr. Kurian has never heard any of this stuff, so that's good.
No,
all right.
I don't remember, honestly.
Well, I know Dr. Kurian's family has great teeth, by the way. That family is, because I know family very good teeth there. So go ahead.
So I wanted to say that what has come about this global crisis is the sharing that has happened in the medical scientific community, and also in terms of population management and what the governments have been doing. I think that openness across borders, most borders, not all, has been extremely helpful in helping us understand how might be the best way to treat the virus, how to best allocate our resources, how to manage patients. I think that certainly Wuhan doctors did share, which is very important. There's also there's conferences where doctors from New York can kind of log into what some of the doctors in Shanghai are doing. And in addition, there are so much coming from our Italian colleagues about how to manage the patients and splitting ventilators and prone positioning, which really is a different way of managing severe lung disease that happens with the virus. And so because of their help, we may actually have a better trajectory for our patients because we've had such wonderful information and sharing from our colleagues around the world.
Yeah, this is interesting. Facebook is saying that they're having some trouble. Please keep Facebook to ensure they're saying they're having trouble. Hold on one second. We're still on Twitter. so I'm not sure exactly what has happened. Just give me a second here. This is fun with doing your own broadcast, right? Like that's part of the fun. Let's ask you a question that came in. Joy Life says, I understand hospitals are turning dental anesthesiology machines into ventilators.
Is that for me, or
Yeah,
I mean,
sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Of not having currently, from what I understand, for the 2 health systems that I go to, we are not using anesthesia machines as ventilators. However, that is why elective surgery has been cut out completely, and so that the concern is that we're going to need, and you guys have heard this from the daily briefings from Dr. Andrew Cuomo, that we're going to need 40,000 ventilators potentially, and we don't have it. So he's trying to maximize who gets on a ventilator and trying to prevent use of potential ventilators, including anesthesia machines. But we have not had to go there yet. Now, maybe one of the other systems has, but currently that is not what we're seeing. The other good news that he's posted about, Andrew, the governor, is that, you know, what has happened in other countries is you see a doubling of the number of COVID patients, and what we're not seeing a doubling every 2 days, we're seeing it at every 4.7 days. So that is and has flattened the curve of what other countries have seen, and that's important.
Yeah, we're having some trouble with the Facebook account, but Twitter, YouTube, everything is still live, so people can watch. The situation.
Facebook? Is that what happened?
Yeah, we broke Facebook. That's just you're being you're giving too much good information. That's hilarious, right? But we're still live, and this will be recorded, of course. Somebody else asked, what is your video chat and multi-platforming streaming apps that we're doing for all of these? This is like a mini television system, and we're using a system called StreamYard for this. And I hope people are able to watch on those other platforms as well. We just have a few minutes left, and I want to ask each of you to kind of share how you're getting through your day. Both of you run businesses. Your incomes are, you know, in flux, I would say, or at least there are things being affected. This is affecting your income. Talk to us as business people who also happen to be doctors. Dr. Faber, we'll let you go first, and then Dr. Kurian.
I mean, as an owner of multiple dental offices and an employer of around 50, I have almost 50 employees, 10 doctors. You know, it's concerning. We're not, we're waiting for the stimulus package to see what we can do for everybody. You know, I'm trying to lead by the heart. I'm trying to keep the salaries and the payroll going. But there's only, I only have so much money. I can't, I can't float, 50 people forever. So, that's the heart. That's what's weighing on me more than anything, is that, I have a great team. I am what I am today because of them. And I've always been able to provide for my employees. And this is the first time in my career that I can't. So that's been very, very hard for me personally. I'm trying to, I'm still seeing patients today. Actually, I'm seeing emergencies, making sure that no one has any pain. It's tough with the kids at home with that. They're doing school on Zoom calls. My wife is having to teach and take care of them. So, kudos to her, because she's doing 3 kids at home. It's tough. And we're just anticipating getting through this and making sure that everyone's healthy. I have a few friends who are actually sick in the hospital right now, which is really unfortunate. I hope they get through this. But we want we're waiting for this to be over, and get slowly recover.
Okay, my turn, I guess. So. Yeah, this is dreadful. I have plenty of colleagues that have decreased hours for their employees and had them, and then apply for unemployment for the employees. And I haven't done that. I'm not planning on doing it. But the good news is that for me, there's a stimulus for New York City that if I keep my employees, that there is a grant to offset a percentage of the of my payroll to help them stay employed through June. So I will be looking into that. And in addition, I'm going to look at the SBA. I mean, this is a disaster area, New York State is, and if we need to keep the office running and paying bills, because it's like a watershed effect, right? So I don't pay one bill and that person doesn't get money in and then they can't pay theirs. So we have to kind of keep going and keep that economy going. So I would be looking at taking a loan out to try and help make all the payments that I have upcoming. I am 99% an elective practice. I don't have that many emergencies, thank God. I like to think that's because I'm a good doctor, but it's also because of the way we do our surgeries and the level of care and protocols that we have, such that most of our patients do exceedingly well. So my emergency care is about 1%. So this is crippling for most of the people that do what I do. And what I do is bariatric surgery and minimally invasive surgery. I'm also a general surgeon, and it is crippling, especially when we cannot do, hernias and gallbladders and appendix. I did just go in to do a case today that was an emergency, but that's unusual, and it was something that, now it's almost by committee. Is this patient emergency enough to do and not violate any of the regulations that we have? And this is hard for small businesses all across America. There was a stat out there that said the largest group of small businesses is actually medical and maybe they were including dental as well, practices. So we're actually small business America, and we're the largest employer because of that, of all these different people that are integral to our practices. It's tough, and honestly, it is so abysmally overwhelming that I'm not overwhelmed. I know that seems like I'm not clueless to it, but at this point it's just such a big thing. I'm just trying to do telehealth for my patients and make sure that they're doing okay. And then past that, I'm trying to fill out these applications and send them in. I hate these applications. I'm like, what does that mean? What is this language here? It's not like us talking. So, but that's the plan. And I think that many of my colleagues are doing similarly. And and for those of you guys who are listening who don't know, there is mortgage relief, some mortgage relief things out there that you can call for as well. It's a big deal, and it's big trouble.
Go ahead, Doc.
To be honest, a lot of the big corporate parts of the country, like the banks, have already been very helpful. I have loans on my practices, and they've already deferred payments for 90 days. The insurance companies that I have, malpractice, disability, life insurance, every type of insurance possible, they're deferring. They're working with us to defer our payments. Rent. Sometimes some landlords are being helpful with rent, but the banks have been the most helpful so far to defer payments so we can keep our cash, so we could either keep the business going or just to survive.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Thank you so much for sharing your stories, both of you. I'm so touched to hear that you're being so honest and sharing that your problems with us. I think it's very helpful for people to hear that doctors are just like everybody else and are trying to keep their businesses afloat. And I had never thought about that, Marina, that in fact healthcare small businesses are the most of small business. I've never seen that statistic. So thank you for sharing that. We don't hear enough about that, I think.
There's been so many practices that have been bought up by hospitals that I'm not sure it's still true. But
right. Okay. But the essence of it's still the same, right? They're just out there trying to build a bit. Look, this is what I'm going through right now. I can tell you, I make a living from my teaching, but also from my public speaking, consulting, and all of that is under pressure right now. Several speaking gigs have been taken away, but I'm blessed that I have a spouse who has a wonderful job, and everyone's healthy right now. Like, that's the most important thing. But I can just feel the pain of people who live paycheck to paycheck. We know the stat that most Americans don't have $400 to fly across the country or one extra credit card bill. And that's the world that we're in now. And you folks, by keeping your businesses going, are supporting so many people. And as you said, that cascading effect, Marina, is really important. As what Marc was also talking about, you're keeping so many people engaged and in business. In New York City, they're offering up to $70,000 in interest-free loans. That's one of the things I've seen, and I'm sure there are other things as well. And maybe these also apply upstate New York, where Marc is.
I'm not that far upstate. I'm only like an hour out of the city.
All right. For me, Yonkers is upstate. Riverdale is upstate.
That's right. That's a big complaint from people upstate. They're like, that's not really upstate. Upstate, yeah. You got to get up there.
But in medical school, isn't there like a medical school called downstate? I've never heard that term except with Downstate Medical College. Like no other I've never heard that term except with.
It's in Brooklyn, upstate, yeah. Syracuse, Buffalo, Rochester, Albany.
All right. To me, Yankee Stadium's in upstate New York. How about that? Hey, you're wearing your Yankees thing. That's great. Our Sunday New York Times read along every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. I read on Facebook Live and all these platforms, the New York Times. And our producer, Neil Parekh, is always wearing his Yankees hat. So I know you guys will be out there cheering for we're missing the everyday parts of American life, right? This is spring training. This is opening day. All of that's what we're looking forward to, and we're missing that. So what do you tell your patients? What do you tell even your own family? I know that at least in Marina's case, she lives in a multi-generational household. How are you handling this?
Well, we're practicing. It's funny. I watch the kids. They sit like 6 feet apart, which is so cute. But I'm happy too. But they haven't left the house. And thank God for Snapchat and Facebook and FaceTime and all these ways to see your friends and keep the connection, because that's important. Otherwise, they'd go stir crazy. I mean, my daughter's left with me to go to the store once. But other than that, they're in the house. My parents are home. They're not allowed to leave.
Who's harder, by the way, the octogenarians or the
like, why am I under house arrest? I should be able to go to the store. I'm like, yeah, Mom, you're not going to the store. Just send one of the kids or send me. That's it. And being home is hard because I'm doing telehealth. I'm talking to my patients, and then kids are wandering by. They're talking to me. I'm like, I'm working. I know I'm here, but I'm actually working. So it's been interesting. They're still teenagers though, so I only see them at certain times, like when they want to eat or they need something. But
one of the things we've perfected, by the way, Marina, is when you are sitting here in the living room, is we snap our fingers when people are too noisy in the kitchen. So we go like this. So that means you're being too noisy. So we're trying to get people, get the attention of the people making the noise. I'd also want to just salute your mom, a nurse for decades in New York City, saved countless lives, helped countless people, and just salute to all nurses, doctors, everybody.
Our doctors, they're all first in line, but there's also the people that are cleaning every room, that are trying to make sure that it's a safe place for everybody. It's a tremendous number of people that are unsung heroes, and the nurses definitely deserve all the recognition because they may end up during a shift spending the most amount of time with somebody or a patient, but everybody at the hospital, everyone who keeps it running is so important.
What I've been saying is that those administrators at the front desk were the first line of defense. People were in New York hospitals. They didn't have any protocol. So they were waiting for things to break out before they, in many hospitals, just get started. And so the first person would meet somebody is the person taking the credit card information or the forms, right? And they had no idea what was coming, or we had an idea, but I don't think all of us were as ready as we could be. So we're almost out of time. Joe says, is it safe to fill my cavity today if I can get to a dentist? We'll go take that question to the dentist.
Yeah, you're not allowed to unless you're in pain. We can't.
Anywhere in America or just in New York? Some states are different, right? North Carolina?
Every state is going to be different. New York and New Jersey right now, you can't unless you're in pain.
And so, but should I, if I can somehow get to a doctor, I should feel comfortable that they have done everything to be clean and safe, right? If I can get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's good. Joe says, my wife was on a telemedicine call today. She has an upper respiratory, hives, and ear infection. I served as her cameraman as a doctor was interviewing her. Is that helpful to have a second person so they can point the phone in specific places, doctor? Either of you.
I don't know if it's so necessary because.
And it's also privacy issues, right? You at least want to feel like you're alone with the patient, right? Wouldn't that be the case also?
No, because when you're doing telehealth, you're signing an agreement. There's actually, you have to put in your note that there's a consent to do telehealth, so that.
Oh, okay.
And I happen to use a platform that, and the hospitals have them too, that is HIPAA compliant, even though federally they said that we can relax the HIPAA for telehealth during this crisis.
Okay, no, that's good to know. So we're about to wrap up here. I want to just thank both our doctors for being here. I'm so grateful to both of you. Let me give everyone's contact information again. Dr. Faber
feels better, by the way.
Sorry?
Yeah.
My tooth feels better.
Yeah, see, he works. Everybody call this doctor because his dentist works magic by distance healing.
Well, no, it's usually people are in pain and then they come in. Oh, I don't feel anything anymore. It's when they see me. So it's the same thing. Can I take one last thing?
Yeah, please.
If anyone has downloaded my article, just forward it to anyone you know. I really want to get it to the governor's desk because if dentistry is left behind, people are going to get sick because of it.
Here's that article so everybody can see it. And let's thank Dr. Faber and have him just give us again his phone number and website so that people can find him. If you have any friends an hour north of New York or so, this is the guy to go to. Please go ahead, Doc. Say goodbye and tell us how to find you and any final thoughts. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can find our website. You can find us on our website, smilesinorangecounty.com. We have our phone number here, which is trying to get a jingle for it, but for the meantime, it's going to be 845-32 teeth. That is our hotline for teledentistry. If you're having issues, you're not sure what to do, you could call it at any time. We will get back to you.
Thank you for doing that, and thank you for sharing your story. You've helped so many people by being here today. Thank you, and you can step off anytime. I'll just say bye to Dr. Kurian, but thank you, and I'll also let you give a shout out to anybody you'd like if you want to shout out your staff or our friend Ari Lam, right? Dr. Ari Lam, who's brought us
Rabbi Lam.
Rabbi Lam, that's right. Rabbi Lam.
I got
too many people.
I'll give you a few. Alicia and Melanie and Melinda, they're all here with me right now. They're probably going crazy when they hear this. And obviously my wife and my kids, Mary, Yonatan, Rayleigh, and Emmy. So yes.
By the way, just to let you know, this is archived on my YouTube, and we're live on YouTube. We're having some issue with the Facebook feed, but the vast majority of it is already archived on Facebook, so they can see it. And the YouTube has it all the way to this point, so they can hear their names on the YouTube version of this. Thank you very much, Doctor, and we'll say goodbye.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. And now let's go to Dr. Marina Kurian. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your story. Please do shout outs to anyone you'd like.
Oh, I mean, I really just want to shout out the healthcare workers. I think that they really are doing a lot. They're putting themselves in harm's way for people. So practice your social distancing. Don't go out if you don't need to. Don't take any risks. Don't go to beach parties. We're not doing that right now, so I think that that's really important because you do put people at risk. My son came back from college and we had to tell my dad, he's not going to hug you because he's not sure, everybody had a cold at his college, right? In his frat. So I think he's been very careful about going around and meeting up with friends. Actually, they're all just meeting remotely. And I think, like I said, FaceTime's great, Snapchat's great. This is the way that thank God these kids are so familiar with it, but it's helping us because it's decreasing their spread. And that's why both my parents are still COVID negative, because if you have any underlying lung disease, like my dad, it's not a good thing for him. That would be, it's game over. So we're very cognizant of that. And we practice a very safe distance, and then, wash your hands, soap and water. I'm so thrilled about that. I hate Purell because I feel like things are on my hands still. So I love soap and water. I love washing it away. And it's just, do 20 seconds hand washing as often as you can.
Thank you, Doc. We have someone watching from India where it's 12:30 at night. So people are go to bed. Thank you very much, Dr. Kurian. You can find her on Twitter, Marina Kurian, at Marina Kurian on Twitter. And please do, if you need surgical help or any medical questions, please follow her on Twitter, and also find her. If you Google her, she comes up very fast, so you can.
And normally I have a radio show on Sirius XM 110 on Dr. Radio. I'm Dr. Marina Kurian.
When are you next on that?
Well, we're on a little hiatus because of this. They're doing.
They should do this. They can do it like this, right? There's no reason.
Hey, I'm going to tell them.
Yeah.
I'm serious, though. I'm sure they'd be like, what do you mean?
But it's called the Dr. Marina Kurian Show. It's on XM. And you are so, modest that we didn't even talk about it till now. That's outrageous. So as your agent, I'm disappointed in you.
Oh, well, I am not a great self-promoter, but I'm a really good doctor. So
yeah, you are. And that's what's awesome. By the way, on one of my favorite Facebook groups of Indian people, there's something called Subtle Curry Traits. I don't know if you've been on that yet, but they have this thing: Plan A, become a doctor. Plan B, marry a doctor. Plan C, have a kid. Bully them into becoming a doctor. And that's the attitude that Indian families have to doctors. But no bullying was needed to see where you've gotten. So thank you so much. And good luck with the family, multi-generational. You're the sandwich generation right there as you're dealing with both of them. And we wish you and your lovely family the very, very best. Thank you. And I will let you go. Bye.
Bye.
And folks, that was our guest, Marina Kurian. And that's the end of another show. It's been an amazing day. Thank you for talking with us, sharing your thoughts. I'm so grateful to every single person who joined us online or in person. Wish you the very best. Good luck with everything. If I can help you, then please email me, Sree.net, or at Sree on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, etc. You can find me. Thank you very much. And email me at Sree.net. In a TikTok world, email still matters. In a TikTok world, email still matters. And we're going to say goodbye to everybody here. Thanks very much. Bye.